Good morning, friends. Welcome to Coffee Talk. Today I'm just going to talk a little bit about what's on my mind. And today the topic is about higher consciousness and how we achieve it. And that is through the path of the spiritual warrior, which has sort of been nullified by a lot of spiritual beliefs that have accumulated over the decades. But truly, the only way to access higher consciousness, and we're talking multidimensional consciousness, which is attached to your blueprint. Remember that consciousness is not attached to the body, but to the blueprint. The blueprint is multidimensional. And when you pass over, you transfer this consciousness into another body. And that's in other videos. And so I want to talk about the path of the spiritual warrior today. And I think I'll start with literally some martial arts. So when I was growing up, well, actually I was already an adult, but one of my favorite shows was from the 1970s called Kung Fu that had David Carradine in it. If anybody remembers that. If you don't, I'm going to put a link to Amazon Prime for the whole series, including the pilot. It was way ahead of its time for the 70s. And it showed a Shaolin monk, a lean man. He didn't bulk himself up to look like the Hulk, and he didn't tattoo himself from head to toe and be a military aggressive man like a lot of the martial arts are out there. He was a lean man, and he used the power of Qi, the power of his higher consciousness, which mastered his body and mastered his emotions and mind, and funneled and channeled that energy in a very direct way. And that, I highly recommend that series. It is an amazing look at what is humanly possible. Once again, it's called Kung Fu. They sort of resurrected it in the 90s, which you could see that one, which was a different kind of story, but the original one is in the 70s, and it had David Carradine. The other, and that was Kung Fu Shaolin monks. The other one I could talk a little bit about might be Aikido. And Aikido I discovered when I lived in Aspen. John Denver's bodyguard, Tom Crum, also lived in Aspen. He was heavily involved in martial arts and teaching Aikido there, and became John Denver's bodyguard. And I will put links to him also down below. But he is another kind of lean man like Kung Fu Kane was in the movie, and also maybe Mr. Miyagi in what some people know as the Karate Kid movies. Not the same, but ideal. He was a very lean man. He'd had a lot of serious injuries when he was in high school and college, and they said he would not be able to do anything pretty much except walk. And he mastered this Aikido to amazing abilities, where big football players would try to knock him over and they couldn't budge him, and he would just channel his Qi and knock these people over. But one of the good things about Aikido is it does, well, at least with Tom, he teaches a spiritual mastery philosophy associated with the Aikido of how to take aggressive energy and work with it, not try to take your fist and push against it, fist to fist, like martial arts sometimes does, but how to take that energy that's coming at you and either redirect it or turn it on in a reversal and use it against the person themselves. But the idea I'm speaking of, so those are the two martial arts that I am talking about. The other one right now, what I'm currently doing is Qigong. And that's because I have 2 rotator cuff injuries, and as much as, punching bags and punching people is a martial art thing, it's not, I can't do it. So I'm kind of in the Qigong mode right now. But I wanted to bring this up as an example because we've talked about the 7 levels, see my video, about aspirants being extremely emotional, generating their whole world through emotionality, and the disciples being lost in their mind, their big monkey mind that just chatters, and just can't find the answers, so they're searching absolutely everywhere. So that's the majority of what's happening on the planet, but there are some small groups of people who are moving into initiate level. This is very few people compared to the billions on the planet. But these people are in what I call the battle-scarred warrior path of initiation, where their inner guidance is saying one thing, but the outer world is saying another, and they are battling inside themselves for where their truth lies. So in initiate level, they're testing their inner knowing, then they turn around and go with the outer knowing, then they go with the inner knowing, and it's this battle back and forth. And they're working to somehow find that center point, that stillness within, because in initiate level, you master peace, pretty much. And that can be a long slugfest with lots of dark nights of the soul. I've talked about that in my 7 levels video. But I'm trying to elaborate a little bit more on it today with the spiritual warrior idea. Because honestly, friends, to be a person that achieves higher consciousness, you must be a spiritual warrior. What is that? That is someone who has mastered the emotions and mastered the mental monkey mind chatter and been able to master his body, because most of humanity is controlled by their body. Their pain body, which Eckhart Tolle talks about, or their chemical body through addictions of food and drugs and alcohol, and also emotional highs and lows, which is emotional addiction, and people living these highs and low roller coasters, going from extreme high, oh, let me have $1 million wedding, I'm queen for the day, to crashing and burning with some extreme abandonment or total destruction of your reality ideas. And so there's we have to master those emotions where we keep them on an even keel. And then we have the monkey mind, which is constantly chattering and giving us information, which is totally useless. And on top of that, our monkey mind loves to mind other people's business. And so the spiritual warrior learns that everyone else is not your business. It's really not. We're not here, if you really understand, like the Shaolin monk and the idea of spiritual warrior, we are not here to change the world. We're not here to interject our force on others. And so really what we're here to do is master ourselves. That's our purpose, is to master ourselves. And that really, the only effective way is through a spiritual warrior mentality. What does that mean? It means developing a tough mental outlook on yourself. Now, I'm not saying extreme judgment against yourself, because a lot of people, we all already overjudge ourselves as being inadequate, not pretty, not smart, not this, not that. So I'm not talking about outer world judgment. I'm talking about where you decide you are the master of your body, and you decide you are going to meditate, and preferably in the sacred fire, and you are going to sit your butt down, and you're going to make your body stay put, and you're going to meditate. And you're also going to develop mindfulness. In other words, this is the Eckhart Tolle idea of being in the now. You're going to develop that witness that is minding your own business. It's minding your mind. It's minding your emotions. And you're going to monitor yourself. This takes a higher degree of skill. These are all skills we have to develop. When you begin to mind yourself, you begin to, sometimes you will act out. Your mind will run amok, and sometimes your emotions will run amok. It's not that we judge those. From a mindful state, from a warrior state, we look at the moments of running amok, which all of us do, and we go, okay, but we catch it. We see it when it's happening, or it may happen and we see it as it's happening, or we immediately see what we did after we did it. The point is, you're not unconscious running on your body, because most of humanity, about 90% of their day is run on unconscious programming from the body. In other words, probably there's some people who say 5% of the day are you actually running in a conscious way. and that everything else is automatic programming, that your body is the God and is controlling you. So this is why you must be a spiritual warrior. You must take the time to make a strong determination. This is the warrior part. You determine and you get a strong mindset that you are going to master the body and not the other way around. And this involves physical addictions and physical cravings, mental monkey mind chatter, and emotional highs and lows. Now, all three of those have to be worked on simultaneously. So this is why I brought up the idea of martial arts, because I have tried everything, friends, everything. I wanted to be a Shaolin monk when I was in my 20s, but you know, it's a boys' club. And I looked around at Shaolin temples trying to figure out, can I go learn martial arts from them? And then, you know, I tried Taekwondo when my son was young, and that was totally unconscious behavior. Now, I don't want any Taekwondo people coming to me, but I'm just telling you, the ones that are like in the strip malls that I had access to, they're really just babysitters for out of control children, women who want to lose weight, or men who need to channel their aggression. And I'm not talking martial arts that are glorifying the ego and aggression. And yes, maybe they master their skill set, but their mind and emotions are highly explosive and judgmental. So they're getting the body kind of down, but they're not dealing with the other parts, because the teachers, and please, there might be really great masters out there. I'd like to know who you are. Somebody post some links down below if you know them. But for by and large, they're not there to teach you how to manage your life. They're just there to teach you some exercises. So I highly recommend doing some strong researching. If you have a big city in your area, you're fortunate, find yourself some kind of person like the Aikido who's teaching a whole body technique, mastering mind, emotion, and body. You need to find someone doing that. I mentioned Tom Crum. He's the only one I know, really. I just had experience with him when I lived in Aspen a little. I'm sure there are other people out there that are doing this. But I suggest that if you want to try and get a handle on it, I would do all of them at once. I've piecemealed it all my life. I worked on my body, and then I tried working on my emotions, and then I've tried working on mindfulness. And you can piecemeal it, but it's important to get into a philosophy that is a spiritual warrior philosophy and get under the tutelage or sort of under the umbrella of people who are in this spiritual warrior mode. Not the New Age airy-fairy mode, and I love the New Age, but you need to find this balanced. I mean, if I had to be on a deserted island, it would not be with a New Ager. I love them. It would not be with a spiritual fundamentalist. I love them. It would not be with an atheist scientist. I love all them. It would be with, you know, Kung Fu Kane. Pretty much. He was my hero and still is. We're talking the 1970s series. He was amazingly disciplined and had so much superpower, it was unbelievable. So we may not have a superpower as our next door neighbor, I wish I did, but we do have someone out there that can keep reminding us we're spiritual warriors, and to keep reminding us to find a way to discipline the body, the mind, and the emotions all at the same time. Because to reach higher consciousness, you have to calm down this third dimensional body complex, because higher mind has no emotions. When you're off running amok with a problem, mentally or emotionally, your higher consciousness is totally still and has no opinion whatsoever. And your higher mind has no opinion about somebody else and what they're doing. Your higher mind is extremely brilliant and very smart, as I've mentioned in my video about consciousness, transferring consciousness into other bodies. When I'm in my higher body and I am working in that body, not just on ships, but actually on Earth I've used that body and in other places. I'm extremely brilliant because I have access to higher mind, and that mind is calm and it's collected and it's joyful. So when I say it doesn't really have these high and low emotions. It's higher mind when it is manifesting in a body, is peacefully, joyfully fulfilled. It's peaceful, it peacefully goes about its day. Its general sort of underlying foundation is one of calm joy. And yes, it can come to attention and be very action-oriented and make that action very direct, and then it kind of just moves back into this calm movement of peace. And not that the action is not peace, but it's a more deliberate movement, and then it's back to a quiet movement. That's why I love the Kung Fu movie. He was always quiet until something happened and he had to take action. So that's my kind of coffee talk for today. I've just sort of labeled this video Coffee Talk. Maybe I will do more of them because it's just something that's been on my mind for a little while as I work with my own struggles, and I see a lot of my friends who are posting on my page struggling. I want to remind us all that the path of the spiritual warrior will get us where we need to go. And so I thank you very much for watching. Please post your comments below if you have any questions, but also if you know of some good martial arts places or people on the internet who have videos or anything that you might know that could be helpful to our community, I'd appreciate that posting too. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again.